This ain't a race. Yeah. This is a showdown.
Within the last 2 decades of mediocrity, some adaptations don't exactly hide their intentions. Last Airbender, Dragon Ball Evolution, blatant cash-ins by people who probably didn't see the show, and then you have movies that really leave you wondering, who was the target audience? The 2008 Speed Racer movie adaptation is not the most talked about movie out there. It isn't as unanimously disliked. For good reason, worse stuff came out very soon after, but looking back on this about 2 decades later, it's still just as confusing. Now, before anybody says anything, I'm not saying nobody ever reviewed this movie, but in the conversation of bad movie adaptations we didn't need, it doesn't get brought up as often. Not hard to see why that is. We already have John Goodman in one bad adaptation. So when it comes to what the fuck were they thinking, the Speed Racer movie isn't topping anybody's list. I don't even think the Nostalgia Critic ever reviewed it, aside from maybe a guest appearance, I think. And like I said, it's not the worst one out there. I'd even argue in some cases effort was put in, but the reason I find this movie so baffling is the direction they chose to take. If you didn't know, the original series was an anime, very badly dubbed anime. And it was also pretty violent, not what kids shows are today, and most definitely has no resemblance to this movie, aside from racing and names. So given they chose to forego all that in exchange for pretty colors and overusage of bad CGI, you would think this would be the typical lazily made adaptation. Given the PG rating, the target audience is still quite young, but that's when things get confusing here. This movie is somewhat hard to follow, not so much for an adult, but a kid, the target audience. There is stuff in this that's questionably confusing. An overly in-depth narrative about money controlling the industry, scenes that go back and forth in time in jarring ways, and a lot of subplots that just don't seem needed. Not to mention a well over 2-hour runtime. So my question is, why? Who is supposed to enjoy this film? Along with it, they released a new series that continued the show's narrative, stretched it out for about 5 years till it faded into obscurity. And despite all this being in development hell since 1992, and a commercial failure, it somehow has a cult following. Again, a confusing situation, so let's begin analyzing the movie directed by the same people who directed The Matrix. No shit.
Speed Racer, slow down!
You get it because his name is Speed Racer. It's funny. Then again, who names their kid Speed when their last name is Racer? That'd be embarrassing. It would seem young Speed is so obsessed with racing, the fantasy continues outside.
Take it you're ready to go.
Oh, that's supposed to be real. I understand CGI was needed for this movie, but even bits like this? Really? Yeah, as a kid I didn't really care, but now, it's kind of when you lose the adult audience. I mean, what even is this? The fucking cartoon looked better. How does that happen? We then cut to adult Speed Racer, played by Emile Hirsch, and more importantly, the real Speed Racer as an announcer. Yeah, that's him, Peter Fernandez, cameoing in this movie. Granted, he reprised his role in the cartoon as well, so maybe he thought it was the same thing. I mean, may as well be. So moving on to the actual racing, I don't really mind it. It's not what I want to see in a Speed Racer movie, but for what it is, it looks okay. The CGI looks better here than anywhere else, somehow. And it is basically what you think of if you imagine futuristic racing. The way it cuts between the present and past is the cool idea, racing against his brother's ghost. Problem is, that should have been the extent of it. Him trying to beat his record, showing what they did back then, but for some reason, a lot more is shown. First off, we have this scene that shows Trixie hitting some girl who made fun of him, with an accident that makes no sense logically. Somebody tries to kill Rex, in which this happens. Okay, that really looks stupid. Why wouldn't you just throw it opposed to all that? And apparently young Trixie thinks attempted murder is cool.
Cool beans.
Now you may be thinking I'm just nitpicking, but that's not the extent of this. They then shoehorn in a lot of other important plot elements during the race. Rex leaving home, I guess for safety reasons, accidents he's supposed to be causing even though we know he's being framed, and of course his supposed death. I guess cutting back to things the common fan would know about during the race is fine, but there's just too much of it. Maybe if it was just the important stuff, that'd be okay, but it's not. The bit with Trixie is almost completely unneeded, and given you don't get too much of the futuristic racing in this movie, more so the cross-country stuff, it'd be nice to see a bit more of that, and not all these flashbacks. That being said, for a long movie, I don't think it's lacking racing. We do get enough of that, but the problem is still the rest. Speed looks okay in this, the portrayal is good enough for live action, but for whatever reason he feels the need to only speak in a serious, somewhat quiet tone.
Really? So if I had to give you an answer, now then, you gotta win if you want to keep driving, and that's what I want to do. And in our house, the major sponsors are kind of like the devil. I'm doing this because someone's trying to hurt my family, and I'm gonna do everything I can to hurt him back.
That's warranted sometimes, but when everything sounds that way, it comes across as not being enthused. Like you're not taking this role seriously, and that's just insane. Then this happens. The kid playing Spritle, Polylit, is good enough, but why was that needed? But the movie has a plot to continue, and it comes in the form of a CEO. This is Arnold Royalton, played by Roger Allam. The rest doesn't matter, and regardless of what age you are, you know what's gonna happen. He'll act real nice, say he wants Speed to race for him, head to the big CGI city, act like it isn't a big, power-hungry corporation, and then show off exactly why it is.
I hope I didn't scare you, Speed, with how hard we push our team. I just wanted you to see how committed we are to winning.
Even Pops notices immediately, so that kinda felt pointless. Really don't know what he meant by an alliance, but I do find this line odd.
My sons are the most important thing I've ever done in my life, besides marrying my best friend.
No, you're supposed to like your kids the most, or at least say you do, and that's the way it is. Unless you accidentally decapitate one with a coffee table, and yes, I referenced that here. If you know, good on you. We get a pointless scene reminding us Trixie and him are dating, like you could miss that. They do the whole Spritle and Chim Chim hiding in the trunk thing, but for a movie that's already way too long, we don't need scenes that establish nothing. Yeah, they talk about the offer after he thinks it over, but we know he's not gonna do it, and we know Royalton is not gonna be happy.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that load of sickening schmaltz, and I'm going to give you a bit of an education. At the end of it, if you're smart, you'll thank me, and then you'll sign that contract.
So, you know we established by now that kids are the target audience? Well, listen to this.
There is the true spirit of the golden age of racing. But the true stroke of their genius was the invention of the WRL, the world's first racing league. One of the great finishes in the history of racing, right? Everyone remembers Burns and Stickleton slugging it out.
So bad that afterwards, iodine stock dropped 6 points.
But which immediately blocked Peninsula Power Cell from being able to afford the price of a complete takeover by first buying controlling interest in his own company at a devalued price.
Will somebody shut him up?
Look, I'm okay with the racing industry being corrupt as far as predictable plot points go, but the way they overly explain it is probably gonna lose the younger viewers. I never knew what to make of it. It's like they think they have something real grand here, but in reality, it's a waste of time. We know the outcome, we know what he's gonna say, it's overly explained, and it really makes you question who is supposed to enjoy this movie. Also, literally, while this happens, Spritle and Chim Chim break in and basically wreak havoc. It's absolutely pointless, it affects nothing. Yeah, they do find out they're using spear hooks, an illegal move, but them seeing this is kind of irrelevant too. You see, Royalton continues to explain what will happen in the upcoming Fuji race, in which Speed will fail, and their business will be sued for infringement, an event that maybe could have been avoided if Spritle had mentioned the spear hooks. I mean, Why else is a scene there? Also, the way they cut to this race is a bit jarring. Explaining it as it happens, obviously we get it, but the younger audience may be confused. Especially because right after Speed refuses, they immediately cut to the aftermath of this, as in after Speed crashes, and it's just a weird decision. I'm not trying to insult younger people, but for a movie to randomly cut in scenes like this, you really gotta question why they take an important narrative moment and present it in that manner. So aside from Royalton summing up this movie, like Ian Malcolm summing up the Jurassic Park sequels,
It has nothing to do with cars or drivers. Unassailable might of money.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
it's just odd. You know what else is odd? Cartel, who are about to feed Tejo Togokan, played by Rain, to their pet piranhas, because the movie cannot exist without this narrative. Basically, he's supposed to throw races, but he didn't. He has evidence that could indict Royalton, who, if you didn't know, is corrupt. But luckily, Racer X is here to save him. The scene looks ridiculous, the bad CGI really hindered it. I do like how one guy manages to save some statue, and how they don't deliberately zoom in on it. But again, we really don't need a cartel. Is that the only way to get the plot moving? I thought you were gonna hit the like button. I thought you were gonna subscribe. You didn't even check out the gaming channel. It's got the same content with games. The link is in the description, and I got ways of dealing with your kind. Boys, they decide to throw him out without capping him first, and he's kind of a dick about it.
Justice. That's a commodity I don't waste my money on.
Get out.
Hey, Jack Shepard. It ain't a spoiler, we know X is Speed's brother Rex, even Speed figures it out real quickly. And I'm a bit mixed on Matthew Fox. Given the popularity of Lost that was still going at this time, it does make it a bit less mysterious, given it's clearly him. But that aside, I don't think the voice is a great match. Sounds kind of fake, doesn't really capture his tone that good. He definitely looks okay and has the movement down enough, but it's kinda hit or miss. Then again, the CGI here is comparable to the polar bear in Lost, so maybe it could fit. Anyway, the situation, the narrative, a kid will surely enjoy. Tejo will only offer up the evidence if Speed and Racer X agree to join him in the big cross-country rally, which could also raise the family business stock price. But Pop says no because Racer X died in that race due to the safety device not working, so that race bad. Yeah, it makes no sense, but he has to say no because this way he can lie about it? Say they're going skiing at the exact same time, which nobody questions. Have them all end up there anyway because Spritel literally points it out on TV because he's not supposed to be watching the race and then gets Pop's attention. Pretty much affects nothing. You could have just said, yeah, go ahead and race, let's not lose everything. I won't deny it may lead to the funniest joke in the movie.
Just watching a little TV, Pops. It's his favorite show.
It's in German.
Not the monkey parts.
That's why I say some effort was put in, so back to the racing. After they get the buttons wrong, because why wouldn't they? I guess some features wouldn't fit in the movie, so that's okay. Unfortunately, these races are not as fun to watch. I think the not very good CGI complements the bright tracks way better. With that being said, there are some unintentionally funny ideas. Bees being used as weapons, X literally punching somebody in the air. It's undeniably hilarious. Obviously, a lot of drivers have been paid off using illegal weapons. And again, I like how the Vikings are being paid with clothes, and the rest with real money. It's just funny some reason. Despite this, Snake Oiler and his team dominate, and Tejo is really an asshole about it.
If we drive tomorrow, like we drove today, we will lose!
He's kind of an awful character, basically useless, doesn't do much to help, complains a lot. I mean, if he was mad about the way Speed dressed, that'd be one thing. Boy, does that look fucking stupid. And in the next scene, he's the only one to get drugged with the plot device stuff. Don't know why it wasn't lethal. Last I checked, they want him dead.
You're an idiot!
But X is not taken out so easily, and the fight is actually okay. Don't know why it's okay. I guess less light to show us too much. But then Pops has to fight the next ninja with some more great humor. Well, at least the body count rises. I mean, he's fucking dead.
More like a nanja. Terrible what passes for a ninja these days.
More like what passes for your career these days. It's not even an ad with a thumb. So from this point on, the pacing really shits the bed, and that's crazy considering how long this movie is. But in the next few scenes, Trixie has to take over for half the race because Taejo got drugged long enough to last half the race, I guess. How they communicate while driving, I don't know.
Now's not the time to prove it.
Why not?
It's too dangerous.
It's too dangerous for me, but not for you, right?
Children, focus.
And out of complete nowhere, a plan happens to put a stop to Cruncher Block, who again doesn't need to be in the movie. It's never talked about. I think it's supposed to be unexpected, but it's more so jarring. A common word here, isn't it? I just don't get who's supposed to enjoy this. Leads to another fight that looks terrible. The last fight looked okay. I don't know what to make of this. I guess they win. And with that riveting subplot concluded, back to the race. I guess. Snake Oiler is taken out, they win, and the rush pacing continues. Apparently Taejo was lying, only wanted to boost their stocks. There's no comeuppance for this. And if you think I'm rushing through this, look at the way they do it.
Togokan's played us for chumps. All he wanted was our help to drive up the stock in his family business. Even if he had a foul, he had no intention of turning it over.
I mean, the whole race was for nothing?
Dead fucking serious, that's the attention they give this. I mean, I guess I'd want to get done too, but at least act like you cared. Speed then tries to kill X. I mean, he doesn't know he's X, but he's trying to kill somebody. And yes, they do really try to make us think he's somebody else.
You're not Rex.
No, you're Matthew Fox from Lost, an acclaimed show that was still going. It had like 2 seasons left. In all honesty, this is one of the few decent ideas the movie had, and we'll get to what that is at the end. B decides to leave home just like Rex did. I mean, the exact same events. I don't know if this warrants leaving home, it's not the worst thing ever. But this time Pops doesn't say don't come back. They talk instead, we get the most fitting line ever.
I'm just so confused right now.
And it's a good thing you didn't leave yet, because Taejo's sister, who is not bad, gives Speed an invite to the upcoming Grand Prix, as Taejo declined it. So moving into the big finale, it's just okay. One issue is we've only seen Jack Cannibal Taylor in one scene. I'm not kidding, one scene, so no tension there. And given there is a bounty on Speed leading to a late start, well, he's made out to be too good. He catches up way too easily. Obviously, he couldn't possibly lose. Yeah, the race does still look good, and there are some cool moments, but even if your lead isn't a strong woman, they can't be made out to be too perfect.
Okay, Mr. 2-time Grand Prix, 5-time WRL Future Hall of Fame. Teach me something.
I take back the perfect thing. So they battle, he again uses spear hooks. Bridal finally says something. Posts it back in Fuji, a little prick. And he gets it on camera, meaning the company is fucked. Jack Taylor is taken out, and Speed, after being temporarily stopped, essentially enters God mode, going at insane speeds, emphasizing how he can't be stopped. Literally the entire race is catching up, and it doesn't even fucking matter. You'll never guess it. He wins. And you know, we gotta wrap things up. It's self-explanatory. Most of it is shown by a newspaper. It's that simple. But I will give credit on one thing. X still is his brother, but the twist is he had plastic surgery. It would have been equally as shocking if Rex actually was dead, but he did it to keep them safe, and in the end, he doesn't reveal it. He just leaves, saying it's a choice he'll have to live with, and it may be the best thing about this movie. Well, that and some fun racing, the rest isn't that good. It really is an oddity, this movie. Not many things turn out quite like it. It's not completely awful, but it's not really good either. Still begs the question to why it exists, but at the same time, does have a few good qualities. The racing is against all odds, fun to watch, there are a few witty moments, and to many, for a Speed Racer adaptation, that may have been enough. Thing is, it wasn't enough. The CGI looks terrible outside of racing, and it was used way too aggressively. The storyline is overly complicated and outright confusing, and when you add in the runtime exceeding 2 hours, you have a complete mess. Throw in hit or miss performances, and less than suspenseful climax, and you really gotta wonder how it turned out the way it did. While Avatar and Dragon Ball are just lazy and stupid, this feels more so ambitious, but in a completely mixed direction. It has a plot that's way too complex and jarring for kids, and not really a good plot either, and the adults are probably going to be turned off by the insanely bad effects. It's no wonder it was a commercial failure. I do question what the cult following is following here. Doesn't have much respect for the source material. So aside from Rex having a somewhat unique arc, not much to get into. Given what comes next, you may have somehow missed this. Unfortunately, I somehow didn't. But believe me when I say, you didn't miss much. So I'm the analyst, and remember kids, John Goodman is animation.